Well, listen, I just want to first say that it's really good to be back. I arrived here on July 5th, and it's just been a bit of a whirlwind. Getting reacclimated to the city and getting to know all of our players. I've done a lot of traveling this summer, seeing guys on their home turf, which has been great. A lot of communication, a lot of productive communication about where we are and where we want to go. It's all gone by very, very quickly. And so here we are, Media Day, and it's kind of on from here. A few things I can maybe address before the questions come. It's a young veteran team that I think is an exciting group. A lot of really terrific players. But we're going to have to be a team that does things together at a high level to do what we want to do, which is to, become a team that's relevant in the East again. And it's going to be work. It's going to be it's going to be an everyday thing. And the two things that we're really going to concentrate on are a high level of togetherness, and we're going to be concentrating at the defensive end. I mean, those are things that are controllable by us. Our offensive game will develop over time. There's going to be questions about Domas and Miles playing together. I do believe these guys can play effectively together, but I also believe that there may be a formula that's slightly different than today's sort of modern formula of 5-out run and gun, high volume of 3-point shots style. We're going to work to develop that, as we go along here. Had a chance to see these guys play together 2 or 3 times this past week, and they both bring some very unique elements to our team, some very unique positive elements to our team. So we'll work on those things. TJ Warren's situation is one that is going to take a little longer than we had hoped. He got a scan, I think, about 3.5 weeks ago. We got another one this past week that basically revealed some good news. But these scans are going to be 3 or 4 weeks apart. The next one will be in the next 3 weeks or so. And, this is going to be a situation that's going to take some time. But we feel like he's on a path to a full recovery. We just don't know the timetable. But he's around every day. He's working hard doing the things that he can do. And we consider him a very important part of this team.
Okay, raise your hands for questions. For live stream.
Yes, good morning, Coach Carlisle. David Woods of Indy Star. I know you've addressed this before, but why excited to kind of come back to the Pacers? I mean, second acts sometimes turn out great, sometimes not so great.
It's my third, not my second. So I'll let that go. But every opportunity that you have to come to an NBA team is special. There's only 30 of these jobs in the world, and this starts with ownership. Okay, one reason that this will always be a good job in this league is because of Herb Simon, Steve Simon, the Simon family, the stability, the foundation that they have built, the loyalty they have shown to this city. It's just a great privilege to be back working with Herb and Steve. And Kevin Pritchard and Chad Buchanan are the ones that really made this thing happen. And so I'm grateful to them. We have a lot of friends here, going back a lot of years. And that part of this is a heartwarming, benefit of being back. But I like the team. I like the players. I like our draft. I like our free agent moves. I like, getting Torrey Craig in here. I mean, he's a winning player. He's a tough-minded winning player who just was in the finals and is going to get a championship ring, I believe. And the group, I've already addressed, a little bit with Miles and Domas. Malcolm Brogdon is a Virginia guy, so I've warm feelings about him because of my history being a UVA former player myself. I think Karis LeVert is on the cusp of becoming, one of the high-level players in this league. Justin Holiday has been an integral part of this thing for a few years. He's been a rock, as a veteran and brings consistent defense, shooting, and all those kinds of things. And then getting McConnell back in free agency was huge. He's been in here for 2 weeks, and he just watching him play in these preseason pickup games, you can tell why he's a difference-making player as a winning player. And so, talked about Duarte, talked about Isaiah Jackson. Jeremy Lamb is back healthy. He's had a couple of good weeks here. And Keelan Martin, O'Shea Brissett, these guys have been in here working hard. And so, we're excited about the group.
Coach, your team faces a challenging schedule the first few weeks of the season. I wonder how do you assess the progress of the team kind of getting and doing what you want to get done, even if they're not piling up wins early?
Well, we're going to have to be process-oriented. We had the same thing last year in Dallas. We had second hardest schedule the first month and a half, 2 months. Toward the end of January, we were in 14th place in the West, and but we hung in and we kept we kept together, we kept fighting, and when the favorable part of our schedule hit, we were able to slug through, and we dealt with COVID like virtually everyone did last year. And so, the schedule is something that I'm going to talk to the team about tonight at our meeting. We're going to have to understand that the difficulty of it is going to be one of the things that's going to have to help bring us together and establish the kind of togetherness that I'm talking about that we need to be a successful group. This NBA season is exceedingly long. There's just so much involved, and our goal is to be together, to be very good defensively, and to be a team that nobody wants to play. And basketball in the NBA is a game of execution, and efficiency is going to be a big part of our game. As tough as our schedule is early, if we're efficient, we defend, we play well together, we can scratch out our share of wins. We've just got to stay the course and make sure that we're doing the right things to develop this group. The defensive part of it, the right things there, that stuff's pretty obvious to us. Offensively, we're going to have to be on point with, our style. If we're going to run sets, what are they? Do they fit exactly our personnel, et cetera, and we're studying that stuff very, very closely.
Rick, you mentioned that this is your third time here, but you're changing teams for the first time in over a decade. What kind of challenges does being the first year in a new franchise add to you and add to this team?
That's a great question. When you come to a new job, there's so much involved. And one of the things that's been really great about this situation in Indy is the hiring process of the staff. I was very fortunate to be able to hire Lloyd Pierce. I've worked with Lloyd closely on Coaches for Racial Justice. I've been president of the Coaches Association for 16 years, and Lloyd became the chair of our committee, and learned an awful lot of him, a lot from him about, social justice and a different brand of leadership that he showed in that role. He's a great basketball guy. I've had the chance, to be with him for the last couple of months. He came off of a gold medal winning, staff in the Olympics, which is extremely exciting. And he's going to be our defensive coordinator, and he'll be a guy that has a very big platform on our staff with our players. Our players will trust him, and he'll deliver the truth. And he's a great young coach who will be an NBA head coach again very, very soon. Unfortunately for us, probably.
Rick, what has been your biggest takeaway in your conversations with the players, talking both about their future goals, but also about what they experienced last year and what you're trying to accomplish this year?
Well, there's certainly an element of disappointment with last year, but last year it was hard on everybody for a lot of reasons. This is, it's a new beginning. Every fall is another ray of hope, for every NBA team. It's important, as a new and incoming staff, that we listen to these guys, hear what they have to say, take in all those things, process them, and then tonight when I speak to the team, about our plan headed into training camp and for the season, we've got to be decisive, concise, and on point with who we are and what we're going to stand for. And so I've enjoyed the interactions, particularly with the veteran guys. I think it's important that they understand where they are. This is Indiana. This is a place of hardworking folks that are very prideful, and we've got to reflect that with how we play. And there's also an element of Indiana basketball where it's just assumed that the sacred purity of the game is going to carry over to the floor, and that's a responsibility that we must not take lightly.
Hello, Coach. Keem Gillespie, Indy Star. You mentioned T.J. Warren, but just to kind of follow up, is there a timetable in place for his return? And going back to July, I know he had kind of started doing some on-court stuff. Was there a setback or re-injury that occurred, or was it just kind of the healing process that's taking longer than expected?
Yeah, the details I'm unable to get into for privacy reasons. HIPAA laws, all those kinds of things. It's going to be, hopefully it'll be weeks and not months. That's the hope. I think I'm okay in saying that. It's not going to be days, but it's hopefully will be weeks and not months. It's important for him to keep, a very upbeat view of things. The healing process with people is always better and more aggressive when you have a great attitude about it, and he has, and this is a guy that loves to play and he loves to win. He's really a really unique player with some, for a guy 6'8", with some very, very unique skills. So it's a hit not having him at the beginning. That's going to be difficult for us, but. That's one of the reasons that we made sure that we brought Torrey Craig on board. O'Shea Brissett is going to, he's going to be a solid contributor for us. Keelan Martin is a guy that's going to be fighting to make this team, and he has a lot of the qualities that we are looking for. And so, and Isaiah Jackson has shown signs that, he may be able to play some 4 for us, not just 5. His progress shooting the ball has been better probably than expected. And so we'll get that position covered, but replacing a TJ Warren you know, you're not going to replace a guy with somebody off the street. I mean, he's just too good.
Coach Taylor Tannenbaum from Channel 13. At the end of last year, Kevin Pritchard was pretty vocal about the fact that he wasn't sure if there was a leader, a true leader in this locker room when we left the season. Do you feel like, from your perspective in watching what you've seen, I know Malcolm organized a group setting in California. They've been here early. He spearheaded that. Do you see some of these guys stepping up? Maybe they heard that loud and clear. What have you seen from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I think Malcolm is the natural guy, and he has taken the reins, both early in the summer, you know, organizing their LA trip, in which they had almost full participation. You know, Domas was out of the country, so he couldn't go, and you know, McConnell and McDermott didn't go because they were free agents; they weren't signed yet. You know, the other players certainly understood that, yeah, and look, I mean, we're going to work through all those things. I've talked a lot to Malcolm about leadership. You know, his role as a leader, you know, and as the head coach and as a coaching staff, we've got to create, you know, the right environment for our guys to be able to lead effectively too. And so, but Malcolm's been the guy that's been out front with this. And so, you know, it's a new year, and you know, last year we're putting in the rearview mirror. You know, I think you got to put a lot of things in the rearview mirror when you come, you know, in this day and age. When I was in Dallas, my office was full of pictures of championship stuff and pictures with presidents and all this other stuff. And here, I don't have one piece of memorabilia from any of my past. Nothing from playing, coaching, nothing. Everything is pictures of our guys here doing things that demonstrate togetherness. So if you look at my office, there's about 12 or 13 pictures of Pacer players, you know, mostly from last year, you know, being together, showing enthusiasm, showing support for one another. And that's going to be what this has got to be about. Yeah, come on in.
Yeah,
Anyone
Coach, this will maybe be a season-long issue for them to play, but could you tell me what the Pacers vaccination rate is?
No, that's, you know, we're at a very high percentage, but I cannot get into the exact percentage, and I cannot get into who is or isn't. You know, that stuff is private information. You know, I'm vaccinated. All our staff is, you know, per the NBA protocols. But you know, the choice of whether to be vaccinated or not is a very personal one with our players. We respect that, and so that's how we're going to do business with that. Back there.
Hi, Coach. Good to see you again. I want to know from today or tomorrow when camp starts what you want to see from this team come 3 weeks from now when the season actually begins, the progress that needs to be made from this roster.
Yeah, and again, the two tangible things are things that we can control individually and collectively. It's our spirit of togetherness, you know, and how we're going to play together defensively and offensively. The ball's got to move. And that's a really big thing. But togetherness and defense, and we're going to build it from there. We have offensive talent on this team. You know, and so unselfishness and defense are like our two biggest things. Those are the two biggest things. And from a process standpoint, you know, that's our starting point. And you know, if you have those two things as foundational building blocks and you have them in place, you know, as long as you have enough talent, offensive talent, other things will fall in line. And so, you know, we're going to keep it simple. and we're gonna keep it about those two things as much as we can.
For Coach?
Talked about not having those photos. Was that a mindset change, or what prompted you to not have anything from your illustrious career leading to this point?
Yeah, it really speaks to the world we're living in now. And I just really believe that our players have to feel that from the top down, our commitment is to them, and that we're showing tangible examples of what's expected, in terms of their conduct toward each other. And that's why these photos that I have in my office, and Karen Atkinson was the one that found them and put them together and framed them and all that. And then my wife and I put everything up over the weekend this weekend, and it's exciting. I think these guys need to know that this is about a full commitment to them, and not about some stuff that may or may not have happened in the past.
Rick, you talked about earlier that you're happy with the draft. Can you talk a little bit more about Chris and Isaiah and kind of what you see about them bringing to the kind of chemistry that already existed from last year with these guys and the team?
Yeah, Chris Duarte, high integrity, terrific all-around player, hard worker, a guy that can help us right away. Isaiah Jackson, same thing, high integrity from a great program at Kentucky. He was the best player on their team. He can do things defensively that, I guess I want to reword this. His defensive versatility is absolutely breathtaking. I just have not seen a guy move, block shots, change shots, be able to guard any position the way I've seen him to be able to do it. And then offensively, he just does something. He just has a really terrific feel for the game. He has great things. You can get him the ball moving toward the rim. He can finish. He can pass, and then he's really worked at his 3-point shooting. And so that'll be a big part of his development as really a two-position player in this league. He can guard any position on the floor, but he also gives us a rim-rolling lob presence that we just have not had on this team, or I should say they have not had on this team, and he just gives us an athleticism aspect that really jump-starts what we have here. Unfortunately, yes.
Question, talking about evolution of the game, people, you've lost hair, so have I, but I'm wondering.
I've just cut mine. I haven't lost that much.
You just cut me short.
Are you all hearing this? Okay.
I'm so sorry about hearing this. My question is, the stuff you're talking about, togetherness and all, what people wrote about you 20 years ago wouldn't have been, I don't think, have you evolved? How have you evolved as the game's evolved to kind of this kumbaya stuff you're talking about that I'm not sure was around in the league and maybe not with yourself 20 years ago?
Yeah, I'm not talking about kumbaya stuff. I'm talking about, tangible building blocks for success, and really just a mutual respect that we're all going to have for each other, and really an obligation to empower each other as teammates and as people that are competing together. So, look, things 20 years ago, we're in the business of now and next. The things in the past aren't that meaningful. Really, I think in today's world, we got to be thinking about what's going on right now, and we got to really think through what we're going to do next. What we're going to implement. Are we doing the exact right thing next for our team? And so, that's my focus with all this. Thanks.
Rick,
One more?
outside of Ed and TJ Warren, any health concerns as you start into camp?
Gosh, nothing major. No. And another thing that's really exciting about being back here is the medical staff. Tim Hupfer is an award-winning doc. He won the award from the trainers in the last year. For the way he was able to catch Karis LeVert's situation, which may have saved his life. Josh, Carl, Patrick, and Ayami are all physical therapists. I don't know of another NBA team that has four physical therapists on staff, and they're very proactive working with our guys, and we'll do everything possible to make sure that their functional strength is good. We'll try to create as much of a shield for prevention of injury as we can, but some of that stuff is out of everyone's control. So headed into this, there's always a few tweaks here and there, but my hope is that tomorrow we'll have a full complement of 18 healthy guys, on a 20-man roster. Obviously, TJ Warren and Ed Sumner will not be there, but Ed has had his surgery successfully last week. I've had a couple of my my Dallas players, Dwight Powell and JJ Barea, hit him up. They both had Achilles injuries and recovered and made full recoveries from them. Ed is much younger than those two guys, and he's dealt with some tough injury situations before. So I have every belief that he will make a full recovery from that. And I've spoken, I think enough on TJ Warren's situation.